Hello and welcome to the full moon in Leo reading. We've got 3 extremely Leo cards today. I really love pulling cards because things like this happen. Like a whole solar plexus chakra with this golden sands card. Then we've got literal lion, the strength in the Leo full moon strength card here, and we've got the hummingbird air element, so we're tapping in with that Aquarius sun that is happening right now, and that is an air element. And then we're tapping in with the lion, the fire, the solar energy, solar plexus. So we're tapping in with all of these very Leo energies and really allowing this full moon to illuminate what is going on in our lives, what's going on with the people around us, what are we noticing, really some things to focus on in a full moon. And we want to take a look back at a couple weeks ago. Did we set intentions? Do we feel like those intentions have come to fruition? Do we feel like we can sit and enjoy this joy of our intentions coming to fruition? Or did we maybe not set clear intentions? And can we be a little bit more honest and aware with ourselves if we're falling into any negative patterns, traits that are not for our highest good, for the highest good of all? These things are the things that we want to focus on right now. So I want to start with the strength card. And we've got this lion here holding a rose, and he's got the infinity symbol on his third eye area, the sun shining above him. And when we think of lions, I personally think of how they interact with each other and the fact that they run in prides. And most cats are solitary animals, but this particular cat runs with the whole group, and this group works together, keeps each other safe, plays with each other, and also rests a lot. There's so much strength in the ability to rest, strength in the ability to be soft, be gentle, like the lion holding the rose. That's a dangerous thing to do with all the thorns on a rose. And you have to be careful and intentional and soft and gentle in order to take the thorns of life and roll with them in one way or another, and to understand that you have the light inside of you. You have the connection to eternity, everything, consciousness, all of the things. You have that connectedness, and you are able to witness that connectedness through opening your third eye. And I say that, and I don't want people to be like, just brush that off, because what does that mean? What that means is a necessity to be open to the idea that everything that you are noticing is important. Everything that you are noticing, it has potential to be a sign, because if you noticed it, it is for you. Because you and I could be sitting in the exact same room right next to each other, and we're going to notice different things in that room, because what we notice is for us. Anything can be deciphered, anything can be understood to be a sign for what you need in your life. And so the more that you are open to that, the more that you are open to subtleness, synchronicities, intuition, understanding yourself. But if you hear opening your third eye and you're just like, oh, that's some woo-woo bullshit, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're not standing in your strength. Because honestly, our strength comes from our connectedness to the one consciousness, God, whatever it is that you want to call it, spiritually speaking. It exists, it's real, and there are multi-dimensionalities that are happening right now. And in order for us to truly strengthen ourselves, to truly empower ourselves, we have to step into that. We have to step into the understanding that we can work multidimensionally. And if we do work multidimensionally, it will work out in our favor because it will empower us. So the Strength card is asking us, like, how are we empowering ourselves? Not taking power, not trying to control situations, people, things. How are we taking care of ourselves, grounding ourselves into our situation, being open to what is for our highest good? How are we aligning ourselves towards being the highest good of all? Are we open to focusing on what's for the highest good of all, or are we just focusing on what's for the highest good of ourselves and brings us the power and brings us the attention, the things that, you know, a Leo moon, no Leos, don't get mad at me right now. Just understand that it's okay to enjoy attention, and it's valid to take that time to understand yourself through the reflections that you get from others. And also, it is a strength to have self-awareness and empathy and understanding, and to be open to understanding how we may all embody some aspects of ego, of we all have the ability to hurt people, we all have the ability to hurt ourselves. So how are we going to be more conscious of that? Because it matters. It matters that we care about each other as much as we care about ourselves. It really does matter. We need to harness the strength and understanding of this. Next card, yellow sands, golden sands, says give it time. And so it's kind of a pale yellow. It's not a super bright yellow, so it's giving me crown chakra and solar plexus chakra vibes. And again, we're tapping into that spirit energy. What is for the highest good of all? And how can we understand that we are in the right place at the right time? We're exactly where we need to be. And that can be really hard, and maybe some people just flat out will refuse to believe that, but we're still here. We're still having to do whatever it is that we're doing in this moment. And so in this moment, just like watching an hourglass, watching the sand spill, if you're watching the sand going through an hourglass, it feels slower. And then you feel like you could look away, and then all of a sudden it's already drained all the way through. Because time is subjective. Time, as most things, like our noticing of it makes it different. So our noticing of the hourglass makes it seem slower because we are paying attention to it. And then we move away. It's like you're cooking the tostones and you look at the pan, you look away for a second, and all of a sudden they're burnt. You know? There's these things happen, and it's important to stay aware. It's important to be patient. It's important to understand that cycles are happening, things are going, and if you feel like you haven't quite reached your goal, that makes sense. It's like Mercury retrograde. It's like the dead of winter in our hemisphere. And we need to take time to open ourselves up to what spirit has for us, and to sit with ourselves and like, what are we projecting out? Who are we connecting with? What are we sharing time and energy with? And how can we be patient with ourselves and with others, and empathetic and understanding? Because everybody's going through some crazy shit right now. Everybody is really not having enough time and availability to or resources to deal with their trauma and the trauma of what is happening to us right now. With that said, it's important that we have grace and understanding and compassion for ourselves and for others. And this last card, the Hummingbird card, I love this. And again, that's that air element coming in. So the mind, the communication, how you perceive things, how you receive things. And the hummingbird, obviously, this beautiful little rapid movement animal. And something that is really cool about hummingbirds is their wings actually move in a figure eight. And so that's bringing in this symbolism also. It's that really, really tapping into understanding infinity and trying to take it out of conceptualization that time doesn't exist, that time actually isn't real. Time is a capitalist structure that is built to keep us enslaved to the capitalist structure and to not realizing our own empowerment. Another cool thing about hummingbirds, they have been known, or some species, some types of hummingbirds can travel up to 2,000 miles to get to where they need to go for whatever that is, whether that's to reach the flowers, to reach the mating grounds. I don't know exactly why they do it. I just read that cool fact. I thought it was awesome, and we're passing that forward. And it speaks to the ability for these little tiny creatures flapping their wings in these figure eight patterns, all of this intention and drive and ability to go that distance. So really give yourself that time and energy to understand that you're on a path, you're working towards something, and you want to be joyous with it, because the birds, they're going to the flowers, the nectar, so it's always moving towards joy. Like, how can you have more joy in your life? What does joy look like to you? Different people like different things. There's no one joyous thing. It's understanding that there is nectar in the life, and how can you receive that nectar? And are you finding that joy within yourself? Are you finding a source of nectar within yourself, within your spirit, within your community? How are you finding that joy? They also have these beautiful little colorful iridescent coats that are, and they're also sometimes territorial and can fight each other, so they're not above scrapping each other if they have to, and so they're a feisty little creature that is willing to do what it needs to do to get where it needs to go and to get the joy and the nectar that it has. So really calling in that energy of, and also I like this little rainbow that's going around it, just calling in the energies of all of the chakras, of all of the glands, of all of the chemical factories in your body. The little brains that make up your body are all special, and they all need to be called in, and they all need to be perceived, thought about. And how can you feel more grounded? How can you feel more creative? How can you connect, and how can you shine your light? How can you know what is right for you and what is not right for you? How can you speak your truth and live your truth? How can you see what spirit has for you, and how can you connect with spirit openly and get all of this energy moving in a synchronistic way that keeps you understanding what is truth? Because we live in this fake news world, and it doesn't matter, like, because truth is another thing that's subjective to your perception. And you don't have to worry about what other people's truths are. All you need to worry about is what is true for you, what is joyous for you. How are you paying attention to yourself and making sure that you are treating people the way that you want to be treated, or being intentional about your actions and your accountability and showing up and being generous and allowing yourself to receive attention without needing attention? And how can you be patient? Yes. So, this is the Leo full moon reading, and I'll see you next time.